Welcome to our panelists, renowned panel. Quite interesting in our understanding price volatility and grids. First of all, I would like to thank you for the interest in our panel, because usually after lunch people are sleepy, so we hope you stay with us all the time and we make it an interesting introduction, and all these people have quite a lot to share with great experience in their hands. And also thanks to the organizers for creating this great panel, and also for the opportunity for me to moderate. Really appreciate it. So let's not lose more time. Let's start with the ladies. And Sevda, it is important for us to know, and from your experience, could you share with us how the wind, solar and the battery storage technologies complement each other and do provide grid stability, and what's your experience and how do you see these moving ahead in those technologies? And thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here and address this audience, because resource is always the greatest networking event of the year. So true, wind, solar and storage, for me, they're not competing technologies, but really complementary pillars of the so-called renewable base load. Each brings a very unique proposition to the table. Solar peaks during the daytime and in the summer, when we have more demand for cooling, and wind on the other hand, it peaks the production in winter and also in the evening, exactly when demand rises. Storage comes into play just to fill the gaps and shift the energy from when it is produced to when it is needed. So that's how I think we can build this renewable base load, which is absolutely important to have. The coordination between those three will really contribute significantly to grid stability, because this has been a major issue lately. It will help reduce the imbalances, mitigate curtailment risks, and lower the stress on the system during peak periods. So this hybridization really needs to happen, and it needs to happen to make the market more predictable, which will increase its liquidity. In Bulgaria, in the last years, we have seen a massive expansion of solar, and there is a lot of surplus solar generation, which we need to address with hybridization. So what needs to happen is really to scale up wind, to modernize the grid, and to support the storage solutions. That's the only way we can catch this momentum that we have now and build an energy system that is future ready.
Super, thank you very much. I apologize, I forgot to introduce her. You saw the CVs, but Sevda is from the CWP, Continental Wind Partners, large developer. She has experienced several countries around the world and Bulgaria. And they are integrator of mainly wind, but also photovoltaics and battery storage. So Martin is from Siemens, and he has a great experience in digitalization and introduction of new technologies and new solutions. So Martin, what is, from your experience in terms of new solutions, new technical and IT solutions and obviously tools you implement in order to stabilize the grid and to address all the issues that grid is facing in the integration of renewables, but also the grid parity and yeah.
So thank you very much for inviting us here, and me on the panel also. So slight correction, Siemens Energy, right? We are from Siemens family. However, we are separately stock listed since 5 years. So that is basically the group who is offering technology solutions for the power generation and power transition. Or power transmission, but that is actually in the transition also now, and it's going into hybridization as we hear. From our background, traditionally big central conventional power generation with about 7,000 installed large gas and steam turbines was the traditional business, which requires a lot of controls of the system. And nowadays, in combination with new efforts on decarbonization, also more on the digitalization side. This is especially also because, as you know, some utilities are implementing peaking power gas turbines in order to support the renewables which are installed. And we are also have installed about 130 gigawatts of wind. So that is something where we started this connecting of different assets. Connecting of different assets because the asset owner, operator, trader, whoever is basically utilizing this is interested in understanding, okay, what is the availability of my asset, what is the capacity I have at a given moment, what is the best product I should bid on, and what's the most efficient. So basically you have a lot of factors which you need to align, and we discussed already today that things will become more complex, and complexity and speed needs to be handled somehow, and the tools which you mentioned is one of the solutions we have. Yeah? So that's basically the background of it and how it works in more detail. Maybe later on I can give some insight.
Okay, thank you. So our next panelist is Vasya. He's from GenI, sorry. It's a Europe-wide trader of electricity and commodities. So Vasya, from your experience, I mean, in the open liberalized market, we see that nowadays, in previous years, it was the price that was forming basically the competition. Now it's more service and more complex, you know, services to the and complex tools that you provide to the clients, which really brings the competition. How do you see the integration of the renewables and the dynamics of those integration and how they impact the volatility of prices, but also the grid parity? And if you could share some insights, where the market is moving and what's interesting now.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I hope you had a great lunch. As you said, the market is rapidly changing. We notice this because we have many different tasks now as traders. Now we are sometimes also originators. Now we need to know how as my colleague said, how some thermal power unit is working, because we need to cover those hours where there is less of the supply. So we are basically, we found ourselves in our actually new environment where we need to collect data. We have some issues with that because of all these new additions to the market in the form of batteries and so on. So we have some challenges, but we have also some new goals that need to be fulfilled. And as traders, our main goal is to balance the market. Plus, as a company, as GenI, we are vertically integrated company. We can offer our clients cooperation on each stage of their investment. And of course, with our knowledge, with our analytical knowledge, we can also offer our clients like good management of their utilities. But this is not a promo event. Let's go back to the market, how I see the market. There are many challenges also on the political level. We are like, when I talk to our analysts, I always ask them not just to check data, numbers, but now we need to also check some regulation. You know, sometimes you can be surprised by some change in the law. So you need to be really careful also from this legal framework perspective. That's basically it. In addition to that, as it was said before, we are adding algorithmic trading and so on and so forth. There are many things.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to algorithmic trading later. And Jorge, thank you also for participating. You have extensive experience in almost every continent on the world, and really a CV that's impressive. And you're representing HEC, which is the developer of renewables, all technologies basically. And what is your view? What would you share with us in terms of, for example, difference between the Bulgarian market and other markets, and also how do you see integration of renewables into the grid, and what you think they are contributing to the overall grid parity and stability. And if you could share with us, if you have a glimpse on Bulgarian market, where we can improve and what we can take as takeaways from other markets, more mature, let's say.
Okay, thank you first for having me here. It's a pleasure for me to be here and share some experience with you. I think that the most of the thing that I'm gonna say is already said, because I have been in different other panels. Mostly we are saying the same things one time and another. So, well, I mean, what I see differences, I think, between Europe, we can say, for example, and the rest of the countries. And I consider in Bulgaria, within these Europe countries, we are now, I mean, we need to integrate Bulgaria a little bit more in the network connections. But I think that this is going to be a good advance for the country, because we know that Europe is strong in regulations, and we have extensive market with a lot of experience, maturity. So, I mean, we can say that in comparison with other markets, Europe has a lot of advantages. That you know, is a comfortable place for investors to to be here, mainly for regulations, the strong regulation that this allow to our investor to be secure when they are investing in Europe countries, and also this promote transparency, because you know, we need to share information. This is something that is within the regulation, and this is all comfort that is promoting investment, and also we can financing the projects in a better way, because the normally bank are comfortable. The bankability of the projects are stable, and we have a high rank in our bankability. This is not happening with another projects. I think that is something that can be improved, for example, in Bulgaria. Transparency also is very important, and regulation. This is, I mean, all the investors are looking for something clear, and if something is not clear, they are going to invest in something else. But to be, I mean, a good or one of the first players in this market, we need to be clear. And also in Europe, the PPA is growing the market. We have a lot of experience, and this is something that is promoting, private investment too. So private investment is supporting the growth and modernization of the system, and this is something very important too. So at the end, the investor need to see this investment to grow, and they need to get the return of the investment. And all of this need to be put in place, and for example, Bulgaria need to work on that. Apart, if we speak only about Bulgaria, I think that we need to improve the interconnection with the rest of Europe to get more stability in the system, and also to convince another investor to invest in here. And also, I think that the country should allow and promote a small investor, because sometimes we are thinking also in big investment. But at the end, small investment, if you sum all the small investment, is an important amount. So, I mean, everything should be contributing to the expansion of Bulgaria.
Thank you very much. Indeed, the transparency of the markets is very important for the competition, but also for the investors to understand clear regulations and provide for predictability and for long-term planning, which is indeed important. And also decentralization for the smaller units is the pillar and a cornerstone for also households and small the prosumers that can also consume but also produce electricity. But talking about variety of sources of renewable sources, wind in Bulgaria is lagging behind, and I would like to challenge you and ask you why. One of the questions is why it's missing. Second of all, why and how it would be important for the energy mix in Bulgaria and how it will contribute, and of course if it can, because there are many critics about the wind, that it's unpredictable and it's not stable, etc., etc. Will that provide for price stability and this volatility, let's say? Thank you. Sevda.
Well, thank you. Since I'm called Sevda, the wind lady, I can talk about why wind is missing maybe for 2 hours, but I will not bore you about that. I will be short. For me, the missing piece in the Bulgarian energy puzzle is really wind. Because I have already told you that solar is expanding and is performing well. We see also storage deployment, it's been also growing, but wind has been lagging behind. What I can say is in the past decade, there has not been a new wind park constructed in Bulgaria. So this is really dangerous for the system because it leaves a major gap in our energy mix. It's a seasonal structural imbalance that solar alone cannot fix, and that's why we need wind. Why there is no wind? Only few things I would like to mention. The permitting process. Wind has a longer permitting process than storage and solar. This is mainly due to the environmental impact assessment that each project needs to go through. A typical development cycle goes from 2 to 5 years for wind, because there is a mandatory bird and bat monitoring, for which you're going to hear in the next panel. And also all EIA decisions, permits can be appealed, which additionally can lengthen the RTB status of projects. Also grid access. In regions with high wind potential, grid is congested, so good wind projects struggle to get realistic grid connection solutions, and if we do not put focus in prioritizing grid capacities in wind-rich regions, I think we will not be able to recognize a lot of projects. Also, as Jorge mentioned, I really want to see more wind on the legislative and political agenda. You know, some political commitment in wind, because we really need this third pillar to have the renewable base load, but we are not seeing this that much. I would like also to see renewables being formally recognized in Bulgaria as national strategic assets, something that has not been done yet, and I think we can do this. And finally, and most worrying for me, is the disinformation campaign. What I have seen in the last 2 years is an orchestrated disinformation campaign that is fear-based. It uses fear-based tactics, and a lot of wrong myths and messages are being spread around in our society about biodiversity risk of wind farms, health risks, all sorts of things that are not really grounded on any evidence, but they are eroding the public trust in wind. For me, we really need to get this social license to build and operate wind turbines, because if we don't get them, even the best projects will not be realized. And my urge here to everyone in this room is really to not be an amplifier of this disinformational campaign, and to for you to step up and be the leaders who are ambassadors of renewables in Bulgaria. This is the only way we can make this clean, stable, affordable, and future-ready energy system.
Great, thank you. Taking from your, indeed, I say that when politics enter the the business, the energy, then issues start to appear, unfortunately. So Martin, in Bulgaria, we are lagging behind with digitalization, with smart metering, smart grids. I mean, the TSO is obviously moving ahead. The DSOs are also trying. Still, we are far away from what is desired. How do you see the digitalization? Is it a panacea for the grid issues and for the impacting price volatility, and how this could be a solver? And also in that context, do you see challenges and differences towards the, for example, utility scale developers and smaller ones, and how the digitalization could help to those parties, stakeholders, to enter the market?
Okay, so you're touching basically both ends, utility, consumer, prosumer, because you mentioned also smart metering. I would call my Siemens colleague for that. For the utility side and also smaller production, PV, of course, including storage, that makes it really interesting of all kind. Now we're talking mainly battery, but also, of course, storage in the sense of hydro, or you have even storage, let's say, you can think of in district heating systems where different kind of storage. For us, from the technology point of view, the orchestration of different assets, doesn't matter whether we actually talk about electricity or heat, is the key. And that's why digitalization in that sense is unavoidable. We need to understand, however, all the stakeholders in the system. So the TSO side, of course, the market players can be traders also, utilities, central ones, and of course also the market products which are available, and for that, of course, it's not the same in every market. We're using an energy management system which is connecting to that players, who is actually solving the equation here, finding the sweet spot for each individual application and stakeholder. And then is connecting to the asset, and that's the key, because you need to understand also, okay, how do I actually activate that specific asset? It depends whether it's a PV field or a combined cycle power plant. Of course, it has different situations and issues. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you very much. So, interesting enough, and yeah, usually traders apply digitalization, and what are the lessons learned for you, Vasya, and from your experience, what should to what extent the integration of renewables is in the grids, first of all, as a energy mix? Is it sufficient, or it could be even improved? Of course, they are different under the renewable directive, the last one, the quite challenging targets. But also, what are the lessons learned, and what should be avoided by the developers and integrators from your perspective, that they should mitigate the risks and price volatility? Yes.
The most important thing is that you understand the waves of investment. It was PVs, then it was, okay, wind at the same time. Now we have batteries, but okay, some investors come late to the party. Still, you need to understand the business cycle of this industry. So it's very important that you have a touch with the experts in this field. With regards to trading, we would need, at least from our side, more accurate and transparent data. So we still do our own research, but somewhere from the official institutions we would need more accurate data, so that we could act faster, and so that we could balance market faster, and that there could be less curtailment in that field if we would get good data, so useful data. That's it. We need to be faster. We need to be faster, and we need market coupling, I think, because there is lack of liquidity on certain markets. People are struggling with the export of energy, and without market coupling, we are having some issues, I would say. Not little one. It could be, the issues could be really, really big for those investors from the smaller markets. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. But coming from the impacts from the predictability, communication, connecting of the markets and market integration. It's interesting, Jorge, if you can share with us, you've been in Spain for many years, you're an engineer, and we've discussed in the prep discussion that you have some insights from the outage in Spain, and because digitalization without electricity, there is no digitalization, of course. So when blackout happens, it's interesting to hear why it happens. So if you could share with us some insights, of course.
This.
If you want.
No. Okay. Well, this is the $1 million question. Huh? But yeah,
You get it.
Yeah, I have my own opinion about what's happening. You know, the authorities in Spain, they still don't have any clarity about that. But I've been working with in the grid, with the people from the grid when I started in energy. Well, and my idea is that something failed in the interconnection. We have
between states. You mean interconnection?
What?
Between states?
No, it's a cross-border interconnection.
Okay.
There was some failure there, and there was a cascade from this failure to the rest of the system in the peninsula. Spanish peninsula, that means also Portugal. How we know this was affecting not only Spain, but France, Portugal, Morocco, and different. What's happening? What's my view is that the speed of the technological innovation is not the same in the power plants that in the grid. The grid normally is years behind. So, the response from the grid to this problem was very slow. So this allowed to increase the issue, in the country. We saw something similar in USA time ago and in other countries. Spain have a very strong grid, and everybody knows, very modern, but not modern enough. So, what are the lessons learned from that? First, is we need to update the grid and upgrade the grid at the same speed as we are upgrading the power plants and the different technology. But there is a difference. The power plants are private investors, and grid is normally national investors. So what's happening? They have another priorities that time. And this is now a priority, as you know, because it's a political priority too. But we need to improve that grid. We need to improve the response. We need to add some digitalization to the grid. We need to be more proactive, and we need to prevent this forecast, probably using artificial intelligence, because this is something that I was doing before with another technology, not renewable. So this exists. This is we have a very interesting tool now to prevent and analyze what's going to happen if if we have this type of event. And later we need to understand what are the risks of the interconnections. Interconnection is very good, but also have some risk. Then you need to have a strong response out of that interconnection. If you see in your country and in other countries, then the good point is that Europe is well interconnected. We have a regional grid working together, and this is going to help all of us, including Bulgaria, to improve and to avoid this type of issues in the future. So, it's a good lesson. It's painful, because I was in Spain, what was happening. We were 14 hours without, power, but at the end, I think that we need to take the positive of all of that. That is a lesson learned. So,
thank you. As we are, heading up with the time, and we started later, but so, Sevda, what we need to do in Bulgaria to improve and to avoid, for example, because the critics are saying, yeah, wind is too curvy, so it's a technology that what we need to do in order to save the the system and integrity, and also in your experience and understanding?
I think we should trust wind more. Actually, this year marks 20 years wind energy in Bulgaria. So we have used it. We know it's here. We have the technology. I think we should definitely put the puzzle wind into the energy mix and really realize this renewable base load. To unlock the potential of wind, a few things need to happen. We need to accelerate the grid investment, as you already mentioned, the interconnections, and everything that we can do to accelerate this and modernize this grid. Also to streamline permitting, because it takes a lot of time to have this political commitment that we need, and also to think about market-based tools that we can use, maybe introduction of CFDs, tools that are already available and that have proven that they work, to be able to finance better wind investments and renewable investments in general, and also really build on the public trust, not allow disinformation and fear dictate our energy future. Those things, if we do, we will be able to really move forward and have a better future.
Thank you. So Martin, also quickly to you, how do you see the future of the energy grids, energy markets in terms of digitalization, including AI? Because in the last year it's the most modern and everyone uses already.
Exactly.
How do you see it? From
Nowadays we are using it also in the private life a bit, playing with it for modeling grids, assets which we need to do for the optimization and the energy management in our tools. We use AI models also quite long already. Of course, they get more sophisticated, but it always takes some time until it's in the market. So there is a certain time gap between, of course, development and application in the market. For us, enabling the stakeholder to do these technologies is the key, also in order to generate trust and reliability in the energy system, which then again helps all the stakeholders in investments and trading eventually.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So Vasya, the latest, let's say, trend, I mean, for the last 2-3 years is the algorithmic trading. And do you think it contributes to, I mean, for sure it contributes for quicker and more reliable trading, but do you think sometimes the mistakes in the algorithm could bring risk to price volatility, and do you think this is somehow dangerous, let's say? And if, it's a tricky question, you can maybe refuse to, remit the regulation for transparency and also lack of market manipulation. Is it burdensome, or is it something that normal trader is easy to follow?
I will answer first the last part of the question. So, as a trader, you need to be aware of who are the market participants. It's not always just like supply and demand, but there are also some other financial institutions that can easily enter and penetrate the market. So you need to be aware of this, so to say, mechanical flows, which is a normal thing in other developed markets. Okay, electricity specific, but still, there are the same hedge funds present. With regards to algorithmic trading, you need to be aware of special occasions. Like 2 days ago, we could notice the big difference between the market on the screen, what was happening on the Hungarian market, where the prices were reaching 200 euros per megawatt hour. The realization was around 125 euros. So if you have wrong model who shows you different price, it will execute, but it will be wrong. Yeah. And one bad deal or one bad day can ruin your whole year. So be careful when using it. You need a proper risk management. Leave the risk management to the people who know how to risk manage things. And you'll get better probability that you'll get better results. So look at also the result of these CTA hedge funds from the other business. They are making loss last year. So it can be advantage if you know how to use it, or at least if you minimize the risk of something going wrong. Thank you.
So the good message, if I hear you correctly, is that the AI cannot do without supervision of the human. So far.
So far.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So last but not least, Jorge, and afterwards I'll give the floor to questions from the audience. What are the best tools that could be used now in renewables, but also TSOs and digitalization, IT, software, from your experience, in order to get better results and stabilize the grid and ensure stability, resilience, and better services?
Okay, there are many tools, but I'm going to be brief and try to comment on a few. We were speaking, Martin said that about advanced EMS. And the EMS is controlling REST, but all traditional and BSS too. So this is very important because as we saw, and we have the sample that we comment before, we need to have a balance between the energy that we are producing. To do so, also we need, there are some instruments, speaking about PV, that are, for example, inverter, smart inverter, grid forming inverters. What these products are doing, there are sometimes. Okay, these are advancing the voltage and having some. I think it's working too. The grid forming is preventing and giving you advance for what can happen. It's working, no? Okay. Okay, sorry. A part of that is important, very important, a tool to predict and forecast what can happen. This tool is already, we can use, as I say, artificial intelligence. So we need a database that need to come from the SCADA. So we need also to improve our SCADAs to have a more updated SCADA and upgraded SCADA. So with this information, we can work and we can predict what can happen and also solution. So this is, for me, the four most important tools that we can use in this, in this stage.
So I would like to give the floor to the audience. If there are questions, please raise your hand and someone will, and please introduce yourself. I think we have like 3-4 minutes. We have 3-4 minutes to just one word. What do you think about from each each one of you? What do you think about the Picasso, this ENTSO-E initiative that, trading, bidding system in EU and, capacity allocation, etc. Is it a useful tool? Do you use it? So are you aware of the Picasso? Yeah.
Thank you. I think I can answer this. We just need a transparency. We need the proper data. As I said, we observe change behavior of the market participants. They are not just putting market orders, but yes, it's for us. We have an infrastructure that can be used in all the aspects. Of course, we need to be pretty sure that we are on the right side. So we are using basically all the infrastructure that is available for us to optimize all the 28 markets that we are currently present. So yes, the answer is yes, but we need transparency. We need fast data, so to help also the producers and also the off-takers to connect them in an even better way. Thank you.